Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
Hey. This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, the lyrics, how it was made, the artwork, and everything in between. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars and 5 stars only. Go tell all your friends, share the post, and that's all I got for the boring intro. So, Jeff, what are we doing today on the podcast? If people didn't already know. Go.
We're doing the Who. Who are you?
Yes, we are doing the Who. We're doing Who's Next.
But we're not doing
that
what? One. What's that one called? What's the record called?
Which one?
The
Who are you? It's just Who Are You?
Is it called Who Are You?
Yeah. That's the name of the album
stupid.
and the song. Who Are You? With the question mark. Got to put the question mark at the end.
Is there a question mark?
There is a question mark.
Go ahead.
There has to be a question mark.
Go ahead, vamp, and I will look at it.
Okay, so yes, we're not doing Who Are You? Who Are You? We're doing Who's Next? Their 5th record from 1971. Classic lineup of the band, obviously. And does that have a question mark?
No.
No. Oh, damn. Why doesn't it?
I will always say, "Who are you?"
Who
No.
are you? And then the album of the week too. It should have a question mark. Who's next? Who's next?
But it's more like a definitive statement. Like, I'm about to fuck the next person up. Who's next?
That's a question.
Doesn't have to be a question. It's more of like
it's a question.
I'm not
It's
like
still a
English
question.
teacher, but like I don't know.
Still a question, dude.
Maybe it's an English
It
thing.
is,
I don't know.
Who's next? So yeah, 1971. Let's get into our origin story with the Who, and obviously we're going to talk about so many other things about the band, the parties, the crazy shit that they did outside the music too. But yeah, what's your origin story with the Who? Go.
So I have 2 origin stories, which I think you probably would have too. But like my original origin stories, dude, it's the Who. Like we've heard these songs growing up. The Who?
Who?
The Who? It reminds me of
God, it's such a dumb joke too.
It reminds me of the Seinfeld episode when Jackie Childs, when Kramer spills the coffee on his lap and it was mimicking the McDonald's coffee incident.
Oh yeah.
And Kramer spills the coffee in his lap, and the maestro, this guy Elaine is dating, he wants to be called the maestro because he's the maestro. And the maestro gives Kramer some ointment to put on his burn, and the burn heals, which disrupts the case that Jackie Childs had because he was suing the coffee company. And Kramer's like, "Oh, well, I got the bomb." And Jackie Childs was like, his lawyer was like, "Who gave you the bomb?" He said, "The maestro." And Jackie says, "The who?" Because like a grown ass man by a nickname is fucking ridiculous. Anyway, the who?
That was a long explanation to get to that.
The who?
I like it though. I like
Dude,
it.
Jackie Childs is one of the most like underrated like secondary characters in Seinfeld. I love Jackie
Yeah,
Childs.
way better than like the Soup Nazi and all that shit.
So
way
much better.
than that. Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, yeah, dude, like, come on. It's the Who. Like, we've heard these songs countless times before. We've heard their top 10, 15, 20 greatest hits over the course of our lifetime. I don't remember the first time I heard it, and I don't remember the last time I heard it. But, like, really, the first time I got into the Who was when we started collecting vinyl. A family friend, I inherited all of his collection, and the 3, I guess I would think the 4 biggest things were the Grateful Dead, it was Elvis Costello, it was the Who, and then it was also the Ramones.
Mm-hmm.
And I got rid of pretty much everything except for the Grateful Dead, and I attribute like his collection to me like loving the Grateful Dead. But
Should have rid of that too, but
no way, that's just not gonna happen. But yeah, it was when we started collecting the vinyls. That's when I really got into the Who, and at some point I had every one of their records up until the second of the 80s. So the Strange Faces, where the fuck that one was, and so yeah, I don't know. That was a long explanation for a short story.
That's fine. My origin story. I don't know if it's Baba O'Reilly, because I remember hearing just the bridge part where Pete sings it, it's the only part he sings in the song, and I remember loving that, and then not really liking the rest of the song. So that might be my origin story. Or when I heard Green Day's cover of My Generation, not knowing that it was a cover on Kerplunk, and then when I was a kid, somebody told me it was the Who, and then they played the Who version, and I liked the Green Day one way more. But I was also a kid. So I don't remember which one of those came first, but so yeah, it's either My Generation through Green Day or Baba O'Reilly, just the bridge part.
But that's a soft origin story.
Yeah, but I mean, like when it comes to as an adult, I never really cared to go into the Who's discography. I like the singles, and that's pretty much it. Like, I love Magic Bus, I love Squeezebox, obviously great songs, and Baba O'Reilly as well, great single. But once we got into the vinyl stuff, I got Tommy, I got Quadrophenia, I got Who's Next, the album of the week. I've had them in my collection multiple times over the years, but none of them, they're great albums, they're good albums for the most part, but nothing made me want to keep them because I'm just never going to go back to them. I guess that's maybe kind of a hint for the rating of the album, but yeah, I don't know. That's my multiple origin stories, long form wise.
Okay.
So let's get into our initial thoughts of Who's Next and the Who. So what do you got? Go, and we'll get into our biggest bangers and any stinkers if we got them. So what do you got? Go.
I really did get into the Who like aggressively, and I know that I forced you to listen to Tommy like 2, 3, 4 times.
Yes, you did.
Because
you did.
Like, dude, that's like the original theater kid music. That's it. Like, it's goofy, it's operatic, it's over the top, but it's also really, really good.
It is, but I'm never really going to go back to it. I appreciate it, and I think it is fantastic, but it's not replayable for me. It's a concept record too. Like, how often do you really go back to Tommy? Come on.
Besides this week, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But at least once a year, for sure. Once a year.
You can like and appreciate something, but not really ever go back to it.
I truly do
Tommy.
really, really like Tommy.
Tommy is like it is the greatest concept record ever made. It really is. But
for me, Tommy is a closer. Like, I can sit here at the end of the night, like, my buzz is going, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna end with Tommy. And I can sit there and just kind of zone out and follow the story and just have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy scratches that itch. No, there's no buts. Butts are for pooping. That's it.
But we're not getting into Tommy. We're getting into Who's Next.
Yeah, so Who's Next? This is this is like their most popular album. This is one that you see so fucking much at record stores, from price points varying from like free to $100.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, why is it so expensive? And then you throw it on and you realize, oh shit, this is an amazing album because the first track is Baba O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And so
there's 3 major singles off of it too.
But that's about it. I have 4 bangers and that's it.
I have 4 bangers as well. I would say I have 4 bangers.
I just don't think the Who are iconic for like 2 things. One being the Who and rambunctious and over the top and being fucking just wild, and then 2 for having like Keith Moon.
Yeah. Keith Moon, Tommy, and then the party. That's what they're best known for.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you left for a second.
No,
the dogs are barking.
Oh, you hear the dog? I'm gonna close the door. I'm gonna hold on. I had the door open like an idiot.
Like
a fucking idiot. Yeah, the Who are known for those things because every big band from the 60s and 70s have a greatest hits catalog, right? Like every fucking band, no matter what it is, Steppenwolf, everybody has a greatest hits catalog. You're not remembered for your greatest hits. You're remembered for what you do for music, outside of music. And the Who, I think I remembered mostly because of their antics.
Yes. Yeah.
That for sure they're fucking antics. And we talk about how Motley Crue is crazy, how Sabbath is crazy, but dude, the Who was fucking even crazier.
Yeah, they were crazier and they predated all that.
They were crazier. What are you doing?
I think the only person that comes close is Ozzy. Ozzy's the only person that comes close. If not, he's up there with Keith Moon in the craziness. Just different types of crazy, but they're pretty. They're on the same level. I would say.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not discrediting the guys being influential to other musicians because, yeah, Pete Pete, for up until this week, I thought his last name was Townsend, but it's Townshend.
Shend.
I did not know that until this week, and it's hard for me to say Townshend when I've always thought it was Send. But
I will forever say Townsend.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but yeah, no, I mean he's wildly influential. I mean, we talked about on the rankings, like he influenced people like Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple. I mean, arguably one of the top 10 guitar players of all time. Far better guitar player than Pete, but Pete inspired him, and he had his style for sure. But he was more of a songwriter, more of an innovator than an actual guitar player, which I know we'll get into on this record because, yeah, his guitar playing is fine, but it's not extraordinary by any means.
Yeah, again, it's not like what he's playing; it's how he's playing it, right?
Yeah.
And that's something to be, I don't know, to be admired. And the whole like seventh chord thing that he used constantly, that was used in like blues music, and just until this week, I know what it is, but I didn't know like the application of it. So I kind of like took a deeper dive into it this week, and now I understand it. And it's just kind of cool to think that like I can just Google. Like hey Google, teach me how to play like seventh chords, and that's fine. But like Pete's doing it based on like ear, based on tone, based on just like this sounds fucking rad. I like this. I like what's happening here, without any like real musical theory. Like John, John has musical theory. Like John has training in that category.
Yeah,
Pete really didn't.
No, Pete is self-taught, or he is self-taught. He can't read music or anything. He learned everything by ear, and learning things by ear back then, I mean, it's not like how it is today where you just throw on YouTube. You're having to jam with other people. You can't watch videos or, videotapes of Yngwie Malmsteen and Joe Satriani. You know what I mean? It's like you literally have to possibly play to a record or just go jam with friends, and they teach you how to play. Like that's how you did it back then, dude. Well.
Yeah, I mean that was like the famous like Speak of the Devil tour, right? With Ozzy, where Brad Gillis and Sarzo on bass, like to learn Sabbath songs, they literally sat down in a circle and played Sabbath record and flipped them, and played Sabbath record and flipped them, and played it over and over and over until they got the gist of it, and then just jammed it out to play it live. And that's Dude, that's wild, man. That's silly boy talk. The countless hours. Or you were that fucking great of a musician where you can just do it that fast.
Yeah, and I mean, there are people like that. But then most of the people like that are trained musicians who have learned how to read music. So they understand theory and they understand pop music in general. But yeah, somebody like Pete, I mean, he is talented, but not, I don't think as a guitar player, he's amazing or fantastic. Just a good songwriter, good composer. Composer is the best way to put it. Composer and arranger, that's what he's best at.
He is one of the greats because of what he did. It's just not for how he did it, not just what he did. He is one of the greats, though. But we're talking like the greatest like guitarists of all time. Dude, he's not even like top 20, 30.
I wouldn't even say top 50. No way.
But like if we're talking about like innovation, he's top 10.
He's up there. Possibly top 10. Yeah, because I mean, we talked about it on the rankings episode, but I mean, this is like proto-punk, man. This is how he played, was very, very punk stuff that, Wayne Kramer was doing in MC5 later in the 60s. But, Pete was already kind of doing that style, that kind of aggression. And And then, as the years went on, him dabbling with tape loops and synthesizers and shit like that, yeah, people were doing it. Like, he was never really the originator of any of those things, but he did it in his own unique way that made it cool, made it inspirational to other musicians. Like Richie Blackmore said about Pete was that he wasn't the first one to use feedback on his amp, but he did it in such a way that it inspired not only him, but so many other guitar players to have that same style, that same sound. And that's what's so cool about him. Yeah. Hendrix too. Like, yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Dude, Pete really was innovative in what he was doing with his guitar and how he was doing it. And not just like the guitar, but his stage personas, like his presence, what he was doing on stage and how he presented himself on stage, how he incorporated himself into the band.
I mean, at some point it did kind of become a gimmick where, him and Keith were destroying their instruments every show to the point where they were in debt like $150,000.
Yeah.
Before, by the end of the 1960s, they were in debt like $150,000 just in them destroying guitars and drums, which is insane. It's fucking nuts, dude. And that's back then.
That's punk, dude. That's punk.
That's $150,000 in 1960 or 1969.
That is straight punk. We do not have the money to destroy your kit. Don't do it tonight. So what do? We blow it up. But
then I read too that like Roger Daltrey, before the Who, he built his own guitar. He built his first guitar. So I guess he would build guitars for the guys a lot of the times too. So it wasn't just a random Gibson that Pete had, but like guitars that Roger made and shit like that. So I thought that was really cool too.
That's like John's bass, the Franken bass that was built. Had no money for it.
Yeah.
And he tried to play guitar first, and his fucking big old fat fingers weren't good enough, so he played the bass. And like,
what I noticed?
It's funny because like Roger Daltrey, like to me, is like the least interesting person in this fucking band.
I agree.
But the dude's a punk. Like he's a fucking
he
punk through and through.
I
he's
know.
the most punk out of any of them. He really is. Like he's
when you
not
read
afraid
about
to
like
fight. Like the fight, he punched out Pete like multiple times on stage because he's pissing him off.
Well, I think it was like after the first record, he knocked out Keith Moon in the studio because he pissed him off. He just pissed him off in the studio, and he just knocked him out. And then Keith threatened to leave the band, or he did leave the band, I think, for like a week, and then he came back. And then they said, like, you can't ever do that again. Like that's just pretty much told him that's unacceptable. Like you cannot fight your band members. But then also, none of these guys were friends. None of them really. They've all said like we have nothing in common outside of music. Like, so they're not friends, and that's why there was so much turmoil and shit between all of them and fighting, because they were not friends ever.
And that's not like an uncommon trait, right? Like we know, like Chad Smith and Flea are not friends in real life. They've hung out like twice over the course of the entirety of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But yeah, you don't need to be friends. You don't need to be friends with your coworkers. This is a job. This is a passion job. You don't have to be friends.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Oh, so good.
It is great. I mean, yeah, we're gonna get way more into the side stuffs too, but let's jump into Baba O'Riley. Let's start with the music first before we get in, because I do want to talk about the inspiration and why it was.
Did you read that this was like originally supposed to be a 30-minute song?
No, I didn't read that.
Yeah, like. The original intention for this, in the whole like Lifehouse concept and their next conceptual album, this was supposed.
That's a whole nother thing to get.
This was supposed to be a 30-minute song.
God damn!
What are you talking about? This is borderline almost too long as it is. It's a perfect song. It's my 1B.
It's my 1B as well.
The fuck out of here! A 30-minute song? Nah, dude.
I guess we have to preface this by saying that this album comes off of the coattails of another concept record that Pete was writing after Tommy called Lifehouse, and it was supposed to be this big interactive like multimedia thing where the audience was supposed to be involved, and it was supposed to be this big fucking thing. And then he tried to experiment with certain audiences, and it never went over well. And he had this like nervous breakdown, and then just completely abandoned, or not completely, but he pretty much abandoned the project, and then he decided to make a more stripped down record, and that's why we have Who's Next. But yeah, a lot of that bled over into this record, in much shorter bursts than were initially intended. So
this is your 1B.
This is my one. Oh yeah, come on, man. This is the best. This is the best Who song, without a doubt. It's the best song. That they've done. My Generation is a close second.
I don't disagree.
Oh, dude, that's a no list, dude.
I'm gonna keep saying it until you really really hate it, and then I'll stop saying it.
The moment you told me last week that it is stupid, because it is stupid, I have stopped saying it since then. I have stopped saying it since then.
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree.
Okay, cool. I
so annoying.
I love this song. I really, really do. And this is one of those songs that, like, yeah, when you play it in your mind, you kind of think like, oh, that song's overplayed. That song's stupid. I hate that fucking song. Don't play it. And then it comes on, and you're captivated, right? You are fucking captivated from the moment it starts until the moment the ding, ding, ding. It's so over the top. It's so aggressively pretentious.
Yeah,
it's brilliant, as the Brits would say. It's brilliant.
It's that wonky synth loop that he throws in there. That, you know, it actually reminds me a lot of Temporary Secretary from Paul McCartney in the early '80s. It has that same kind of unsettling loop that's a little bit off, but it still works. And also just that part too reminds me a lot of shit that you hear on the Postal Service record, the Give Up record. Just clearly just that synth part had inspired so many artists and bands throughout the following decades. I love it though. I love it. And then I love the build because it's just, you have that loop and then just the piano part, that boom, 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 just those three notes. And then the guitar comes in, the big chords being hit and just the drawn out notes. And then it just kind of, I don't want to say it explodes into the verse, but it drops into that like hard rock verse and Roger singing over that. It's good, man. It's fucking good.
It's pretty wild that, like, this is a song that is remembered for its intro and that like ding ding ding, those three notes, and that's about it. Like, that's it.
Really, that is the song. Yeah, those three notes. That's what everybody remembers.
The song's fucking like 5 minutes long. You know what I mean? Like, it's a long fucking song, and we hear it again later on in the album.
Yeah, and I mean, I know this song. You know, it's 1971, but I mean, they wrapped up a prog song in 5.5 minutes. Yeah. That's cool, man. I mean, because it really is a prog song the way it's structured. I mean, you have that crazy intro, you get a verse, and then like a bridge. Yeah, the verse, the bridge, where when Pete sings, it's like, where does this come from? Because it doesn't do it any other time in the song. And that's my favorite part of the song is Pete's part when he sings. I love that. And then it drops into another verse and then finally a chorus. And then there's this like super extended outro, like that's almost 2 minutes long. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy.
Prog song in less than 6 minutes.
It really is a prog song. And this really is a prog album. And like conceptually, right? Like, a concept album is kind of a prog record. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
What is the difference between like King Crimson and The Chord of versus Tommy? Like, they're prog records. One is just done by a rock band, and one is done by a band that self-proclaims to be prog, and they're just way better at their instruments.
Oh boy, I don't really have too much written about the lyrics. Do you have really? I don't know.
No, this was just like, it was part of a bigger scrapped like story arc, right? One that shows a family leaving town to find their daughter who ran away to a concert to free her mind, and blah 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 blah. Yeah. That concept of the Lifehouse, what I think it was, let me just throw it out there real quick, is what I read. It was about a girl who leaves her family to go to like a Woodstock concert to free her mind and become in tune with her body and her spirit and the world around her. And the family leaves to go find her, and in doing so finds the concert and subsequently has their own minds freed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think the original Lifehouse was about, dude.
But in the context of just this song, I feel like this is just their criticism of the hippie culture, because they hated hippies and they hated that whole
fucking really hated
counterculture.
hippies.
Yeah,
Like famously at Woodstock, that dude Abby Hoffman jumped on stage And Peter or Roger like kicked him off and said, "Get the fuck off my stage." like get the fuck out of here. And again, like the Teenage Wasteland part supposedly was inspired by them looking over at the Woodstock campgrounds and realizing, dude, you piece of shit motherfucker hippies left this place a wasteland.
Yeah.
Like none of y'all use trash cans. Maybe there weren't trash cans available. I don't know. I wasn't there. But yeah, dude, like, can you imagine? And like, you can see pictures on the fucking Woodstock LP on the vinyl. You can see pictures of like post Woodstock. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
it's fucking disgusting. So get the fuck out of here.
And funnily enough,
who
played? Was it John and Mickey Hart played at the '99 Woodstock, which was kind of cool too, right? Did you see that, or have you heard that before?
John Entwistle and Mickey Hart from the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
They were the only ones from, I think I read they were the only ones who played the original Woodstock that played it at the '99 Woodstock.
Oh, that's cool.
But they didn't play. They played as like a super group. They didn't play as the Who or Grateful Dead.
Which is funny because I'm sure nobody at the '99 Woodstock gave a shit who they fucking were.
All they cared about was Limp Bizkit and Korn.
And like realistically, for ranking like band members, like the drummer and the bass player, bro, you're bottom tier already.
I mean, it's cool for us, but yeah, definitely for the layman, it's yeah.
Oh,
cool.
Woof. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, Baba O'Reilly. So another thing I want to talk about here, the inspiration behind the title of the song. So Baba O'Reilly was inspired by two people. The first one was Meher Baba, who was an Indian guru, who Pete Townshend, started following in the mid '60s. And that's another thing I want to touch on.
Crazy story, dude.
Yeah. And then the other person was inspired, or was Terry Riley, who was was it like a composer or something, like a classical composer? Yeah. But yeah, this Meher Baba, dude, fucking scam artist, dude. Come on,
you tell me he didn't speak for 40 fucking years?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
The claim is he did a vow of silence in 1925. And he died in like 1969, I think it was.
Yeah.
And for like the 40 years, he didn't speak one word.
Get the fuck out of here.
And it's like, yeah, dude, seriously, shut the fuck up, dude. And he would only speak to people through like an alphabet board that he had, and then eventually like he had one interpreter, and he would just like he made up his own like form of sign language,
stupid,
with just hand gestures, and talk to the interpreter, who in turn would talk to people. It's like, then you're defeating the purpose. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do a vow of silence, then there's no communication. That's just stupid. And not only that, the fucking shit that he was like preaching about, he was saying like one of the last things he said before he died was like, "I am God." Like he believed that he was God. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. And people follow this shit. And then not only that, but I was like going through his wiki and everything, because I didn't go too far into it, but on his wiki, it was showing like all the places that he lived around the world. Like he had like 8 homes in India. He had like 4 homes here in the United States, a home in Australia. Like the dude was wealthy because he was able to trick all these people to give him a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Of course.
Shit.
And why the fuck do you need to make up your own language when like sign language existed for hundreds of years prior to you?
I know.
Like get the fuck out of here, dude. Like American Sign Language has been around for centuries, hundreds of years. Get the fuck out of here.
And apparently he would go into seclusion and then fast for, days or whatever it was. And it's just like, come on, man, it was so annoying reading about this guy.
I thought that too.
So
I thought like, God damn, bro, this guy's a con artist for sure.
And then I was reading too, like, throughout his life, he would essentially like hire women to like travel with him. Like his followers just to travel exclusively with him. It's like, come on. Really? We all know what this is.
Traveling with him. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Just all this predatory behavior and all that shit. Oh man. Which, when it comes to predators, Pete's not too innocent himself. Did you read about that shit?
Yeah.
For what that's worth, I mean, it's not looking good. It wasn't good. It didn't look good for him, but the fact that they found nothing
It
is
doesn't
good.
surprise me. But like the fact that they found nothing, it just means that, to me, that just means that somebody got to somebody with a blank check fast enough and called it a day.
Yeah, if people don't know what we're talking about, kitty porn.
Yeah.
So not good at all. But yeah, he was acquitted of that. And but then I was reading more about like his philanthropy and stuff, and it's like he does a lot with child charities. So that's a little questionable too.
Again, I don't.
So yeah,
I don't know, dude.
I only want to bring it
don't
up
know.
because we are speaking so highly of him, but we also are. I want to bring up the really terrible things. Hopefully they aren't true.
I mean, let's just make a blanket statement here. I think anybody that was in a hard rock band, any group, fuck that, not hard rock. Like Sam Cooke was murdered because he was supposedly trying to rape some girl and fucking she shot him to death. So I think anybody who had any kind of money in the music business, movie business, from the 40s to fucking now,
The beginning of time
and like I don't understand why it's so okay for us to hate politicians with such an ease, right? Like, oh, all politicians are scumbags. I fucking think all like actors are scumbags, man. I think all these
musicians
fucking musicians
too
are scumbags.
Like, what a great example, David Bowie, an absolute piece of shit human person.
Guy groomed boys and girls.
Yes, he was a terrible human, but people give him a pass because they pretend to like his music. I'm just kidding. He probably has some really good music. I haven't heard everything, but it's just like he was a shitty fucking. He was gross. He was a gross person, but people give him a pass for some reason. I don't get it. I do not get it. Also, like fuck Prince too. That makes me mad. I don't think he ever had any sexual allegations on him, but he was just a fucking straight douchebag, and people regard him as one of the greatest. I mean, he was obviously great, but not the greatest, and he was an absolute fucking douchebag. He was an asshole. Everybody said he was an asshole. Everybody who ever worked with him thought they were friends with him. He was a fucking asshole. Just say he was.
There's really, like, to me, there's no difference in like ego personalities between politicians and like musicians and actors. And anybody in a position of power, I think,
yeah,
like Spider-Man, right? Like, absolute power corrupts absolutely, that type of thing. It's cheesy as fuck, but like we kind of gloss over it, but it's 100% true. All of our favorite artists, all of our favorite like icons in history, are all kind of dicks.
Yeah, you're right. You're
like,
totally right. I mean,
normal people don't have the kind of money and influence that icons have because we're not douchebags. That said, let's get more into the Who here.
I really just wanted to bring up that Meher Baba because he seemed like an absolute piece of shit.
Dude, like that was funny because I read about him and I was like, damn, the dude to speak for 44 years. I was like, I respect that. And then like my natural kind of like pessimistic negativity coming. I said, bullshit. The fuck out of here. You didn't speak for. You taught me like you didn't stub your toe and go, oh fuck. Get the fuck out of here, you lying sack of shit.
That's another thing too. He got like toward the end of his life, he got in like multiple really bad car accidents to where like he broke his pelvis and all that kind of shit.
You didn't say a goddamn word.
Yeah, you didn't say a fucking word when the ambulance came and picked you up. They're asking for your information. Fuck you, dude. You 100% broke that vow of silence. That self-imposed vow of silence. That wasn't even a vow of silence because you were still communicating with people. It's all bullshit. Fuck that guy.
It is.
Fuck. Makes me mad.
Unless you're that fucking dude who like burned himself on the cover of the Rage Against the Machine album.
Oh,
the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Even
then, I mean, come on, guy. Come on.
You know what's super dope too? Like some people I do respect for that. Like this is kind of on topic, but slightly off topic. But like green chartreuse is a liqueur that is made by like monks. And like post pandemic, there's been this resurgence of people trying to like craft cocktails at home. And like chartreuse is a very good liqueur that you can mix with like a lot of different things to make your cocktails really pop. But the monks that make it, they don't do it for money. They only make like X amount of bottles a year, and that is all they make because that's all their like beliefs allow them to make. Their time permitted, And so like post pandemic, the bottles of chartreuse went from like $20 a bottle to like $50 to like unobtainium. Like now, if you're at a bar and you're ordering chartreuse, you're just not going to get it because it's so fucking rare now, and the demand is so high that the monks could they can literally create their own price, but they don't do it because it's not. This is not their calling. They do it to keep them busy. They do it because they have an overabundance of there's like a bunch of different fucking flavors and things that go into this chartreuse liqueur. They do it because they make a little bit of money to keep the lights on, but that's it.
I respect that.
You gotta respect that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that's something that is tangible. Like I get that. That's objective. This dude not speaking for 44 years. Nah, there's too much ambiguity there. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's very cultish and I don't like it.
Cultish.
I don't like it, dude. All right.
Moving on.
Bob
All
O'Reilly.
Right. That was our 1B.
That was my 1B. Yeah. So what's your 2B? Let's get into this.
2B.
We still got
2B
like all the party
not
shit
2B.
too. But
that's true.
Yeah.
Going mobile. Going mobile is my 2B.
Really? That's like didn't even make a near.
Damn, son. What?
Yeah. I didn't really care too much for that song.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Well, what do you got? I mean, I have notes, so I'm down to talk about it.
So for one, Daltrey's not even on this record, I guess, on the song. But
yeah,
this shows their beginnings of like an R&B style band. And something that I didn't know about the Who until this week was two things. One is their heavy surf influence, and then two, their heavy like R&B influence.
But I feel like the surf stuff was only like early on, like the first few records. Like maybe 4 or 5 records.
Because Dwayne Eddy inspired like surf music. Like Dwayne Eddy and his like rock and roll style guitar, like Eddie Cochran almost to a point. Like these guys are playing the guitar in the same way. The only difference is the drummer's not backing them up and there's no reverb on their guitar playing. And a lot of like Who B-sides in the early days are very, very surf guitar. And this song specifically is very, very R&B style. This is like their R&B song for the record.
Yeah, I guess so. I just thought it was too basic sounding for me.
Dude, this fucking chorus is just, this melody is so good. This reminds me of like Meghan Trainor.
Like the vocal, the vocal
that's
melody?
what it is. It's Meghan Trainor. It's fucking.
Really?
I hear you, huh? My move is something. Oh my god, dude! I just got it right now. It's from the Target commercial. Go ahead, vamp. I'm gonna look it up.
No, I felt like the vocals were very mediocre, and I do like Pete's voice a lot. I actually prefer it over Roger's voice most of the time. But I don't. The melody really didn't do anything for me. It's also more acoustic and bass led, which isn't bad, but they did it better on this record in other places. Keith has some incredible parts, but some incredible fills. But he's Keith Moon, of course he does. One standout thing that I really liked about this was the wah that Pete was using for the solo. It's like the best way for me to describe that wah sound, which I think it is just a wah pedal on his guitar. It sounds gooey. Gooey is the best way to describe that sound. Like it's beyond wet with like reverb. It's more, I don't know. I've never heard a guitar sound that gooey before. Gooey is the only way I could say it.
Gooey duck.
It. But because that was it was like a wah on his guitar, right? It wasn't a synth.
Yeah, it was a wah.
Because I felt like it was writing that line, so that I was questioning myself. But also there's some cool parts too where they double time it, but I wish they double timed it longer. Or they could have like extended like the last minute of the song and double timed that and made it really, really exciting. But they went back and forth, which is cool too. But those are my thoughts on it.
Several reasons why I love this song, and now I love it even more. It is like the precursor to a traditional Target commercial pop song, and we love Meghan Trainor. And one of her early like hits was on a Target commercial, and that's how I discovered her. Was "Lips Are Moving," and it's very much in the same vein. And so I might write in the show notes to make you go listen to "Lips Are Moving," and then also going
all
mobile.
About That Bass is not that wasn't your introduction to Meghan Trainor?
No, it was a Target commercial. It was "Lips Are Moving." Yeah.
No way. Okay. All right. I still want to do Megan Trainor. I think it would be so cool to do her. To do one of her records on the podcast.
She's so fucking good.
Yeah,
so
she has some.
friggin' good.
She's super cool.
It's just like good pop music. Like the fuck.
Great pop music.
Good pop
Not just
music.
good, but great pop music. Great message. Like she is like probably one of the, I would say like one of the most down to earth pop artists going on in the last like 10 years.
She honestly, she should be carrying the torch.
Oh,
But
100%.
It just
Not
doesn't
Taylor
seem
Swift.
like it's happening. Yeah.
Taylor Swift is just too basic, man. She's. I mean, I like a lot of her songs, but
bro.
I do.
Bro.
Wait, you don't believe me?
Come on. We did a whole podcast where
We
nobody
did Fearless.
where nobody believed you.
We did Fearless, and I to this day, Fearless is not her best
Fuck
record. Like
outta here,
1989, that is a great pop record. Up
It's
there with
fine.
one of the great pop records. And
It's
1989 is
I don't think any
way
of
better
her-
than Fearless. Get the
I
fuck
don't-
out of here.
I don't own any of her records on vinyl anymore.
I don't either.
I own a
I
lot
don't.
of them at some point, but no, I don't. No.
You did?
Yeah, I own like 4 of them on vinyl at some point.
I did not know that.
Okay.
If any,
Well, I don't know.
if I were to get any, it would be 1989
It's fine.
because that is a good record,
Okay.
right?
I
Right?
mean, last time we did Taylor Swift, you had nothing nice to say. And we tore into you. And we actually had a guest on. We had 2 guests on at that point. And everybody tore into you because all you had to say were negative things. So I don't know where this is coming from.
Because I had to balance it out because all you, Sean, and Ryan were doing were just like gushing over this. And then, yeah, of course, Fearless is a good record.
It's a great
But
record.
come on, guys. Come on. It's not perfect. It's a great pop record with country influence, but it's not perfect. And you guys were acting like it's, I don't know, the greatest pop record ever made. It is not that.
It's pretty fucking good, though.
It's good, but it's not perfect.
It's
No.
pretty fucking good. It's pretty close.
Anyway, we're not talking about that. Talking
Going
about Megan
mobile.
Trainor. Yeah, and
But
going
like
mobile.
really, like the
Mhm.
the 50s kind of like 60s swing of R&B. This is what this song is kind of harkening back to. And all of my generation, except for My Generation, the title track, and a lot of their B-sides from the early days are either like surf rock inspired or American R&B inspired. And
Yeah.
Going Mobile is in that vein. It's it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. And speaking of singles, I didn't realize how many non-album singles they put out in their career. They put out what, like 4 singles before My Generation even came out. That album even came out.
Yeah.
They were, and even Magic Bus. I was very surprised to see that wasn't even that's a non-album single, and that came out in the late 60s.
Yeah.
Like that's way past their popularity, and the fact that it never made it. It made it on a compilation, but it never made it on an actual record. That's crazy. That's a great song. Magic Bus is a banger.
And like it makes sense with the strategery going on with being like a manager / producer / like influencer to the band, right? Because they fired multiple managers, and
Yeah.
it was because the image wasn't there or the direction wasn't there. So I get
Or
why
they were
releasing,
focusing too much on the image, like the
But,
mod
like,
culture.
but like it just wasn't
In the
there.
early
What
days.
they wanted wasn't there at the time. And the original guy Shell, who did the Kinks, like he wanted them to be the mod. He wanted them to be something that they fucking didn't want to do, that they thought was fucking
Yeah.
stupid. And the whole
Well,
mod
also-
culture versus like the what do they call them? The Clashers, the Thrashers, the
Something like
Greasers, whatever the opposite to the mods were. The cool guys, the rockers, the rockabilly guys. Like that whole clash between the two is just so dumb, bro. Like that was 10,
But also
15
it
years
was
prior
like
in America.
The end of the mod culture. That's when they fired the managers. It was like they knew that whole thing was dying out, and that's why they didn't want to make another record like that or go along with that. Because
They didn't want to do it to
was dead.
begin with. They only
Oh,
did it
yeah,
to
that's
begin
true,
with
too.
because they had no money, and I think it was Pete or Keith's mom got him like the audition with the record label, and then got him some money. And again, they were like fucking 18 years old. Like what the fuck do you know when you're 18 years old?
I know. You know nothing.
Like you know nothing. And so like it just wasn't the direction they wanted to go, And at that time, already, Keith is already better than most of his contemporaries. John is already better than most of his contemporaries. And like Roger is aggressive enough to kind of like put on the front of being better than most everybody else. And Pete's a great songwriter. And so these guys are kind of just falling into their own. I think at their best, the Who are Tommy. Like that's who they probably wanted to be in the beginning. They just didn't know it. And this is kind of the aftermath of it. This is like their best songwriting as singles are concerned, right? Because Bob O'Reilly
as a pop record,
is insane.
This is their best.
Like Loving, Aim for Keeping is insane. Behind Blue Eyes is insane. But I think the Who, the best time they ever connected was probably Tommy. Like that was, like for them, probably their best.
It also was their most successful thing, and they became millionaires pretty much overnight when Tommy came out. I mean, they were making money, but nothing compared to what was made after Tommy came out. Not even close. Yeah. But imagine that pressure too, after creating that record. And that's why Pete went with another concept record, because I mean, how do you follow up Tommy? You can't. It's so hard to follow it up with just like
you're like 23 years old. Yeah. The fuck do you know, dude?
You know nothing.
What do you know? You don't know anything. Like literally, like your formative years are in this band. Are having like women throw themselves at you, just money being tossed at you, drugs being tossed at you, everyone just saying yes to you. Like all you know is just getting better and better and better and making more and more money. And even if it's a good thing, right, where your manager and everybody else around you is making a bunch of money, all they are expecting from you is to be better and better and better. And I do empathize with it. That's sad. That's destructive. The fact that all these rockers, their formative fucking years are completely wasted pleasing somebody else. And that is tragic. Absolutely tragic.
But then also, when you're young, people as they get older, you could still make really, really great music, and many artists have done that. But I mean, in all honesty, most of the time, the best music from artists are from when they're in their late teens and early 20s, because it's the most honest. It's the most honest. They don't have the weight of the world. They don't know anything yet. They just focus on what makes them feel good on a creative, from a creative level. They don't have a lot of, outside people, telling them what to do. And even if they do, they still make something unique to themselves. But yeah, once you get older, you start second guessing yourself, and you realize that the world is crushing you, and it's not as happy as you want to believe, and you can't change anything in the world.
I think
the innocence of being young is not. It's underrated, or it's not. I don't want to say underrated.
It is underrated. It really is, because like retrospect, we tend to enjoy music done by people that are younger than us, because their optimistic look on life makes us feel better about like maybe the pessimism of life itself, right?
Yeah.
Like life sucks, man. There's a lot of stuff that I don't want to do that we have to do. But when we hear like Green Day talk about shit, and we hear like the Who talk about shit, and 22 years old, it kind of brings you back nostalgia a little bit. But
even if you weren't there,
even if you weren't there, but it also just gives you hope that like, damn, like every generation is talking about the same thing. Therefore, like maybe like my kids or like the newer generation will be better. And so I don't know. There's a glimpse of optimism always when you hear young people do music, do anything like art and creative. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's cute.
It is. So Going Mobile, do we have anything else on here on this one?
I love this song so much, but
that's wild, man. Yeah. I feel like the middle part of the record, like maybe track 6, like 6, 7, and 8, those songs are just a lot of just okay songs.
8?
They're okay. Wait, no. Okay, I'm sorry. So 5, 6, and 7. 5, 6, and 7.
Jesus fucking Christ.
5, 6. Okay, calm down there, dude. Well,
I almost had an aneurysm, dude.
5, 6, and 7. I forgot there's only 9 songs on this record. 9. So yeah, let's get into my 2B. Won't Get Fooled Again. Where does this one sit for you?
You fool me once, but I won't get fooled again. It's so
You can't fool me
stupid.
again.
This is not,
Yeah,
this is not a
classic
banger for
George
me.
W. Bush.
I don't know why is this a banger for you? It's the coda to Baba O'Reilly. It's the same
I
fucking
know.
thing, dude. We're just.
I think it's
like,
'cause
do you
it-
just want more Baba O'Reilly? Is that what you're going at here?
I also recognized this song. Like it was, I know the song wasn't a single. I don't think it was a single, but I mean, I know a lot of the song because it's played on a lot of radio or TV or media, like TV shows, movies, whatever it is. So I've heard this song a lot, so I'm familiar with it. And dude, it's like almost a 9-minute song. This is like just a great kind of proggy song. There's a lot of really cool instrumental stuff going on here. Cool instrument. There's 2 really awesome instrumental bridges. That super long outro. It's just good blues, hard rock stuff going on in the song, and that chorus is really catchy. It's very Rolling Stones esque. That vocal melody.
Ooh.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a huge Rolling Stones guy, but I understand their significance, and I do understand why they're popular. But it's still not my thing. But there's a lot of the Who in general that reminds me a lot of the Rolling Stones,
Yes.
and a lot of the Beatles.
Yes.
a lot of both.
Yes.
Especially with the vocal melodies, some with the guitar. But Keith Richards is, I mean, objectively, he's a better guitar player than Pete is.
He for sure is a better guitar player than Keith. Dude, Keith
And
Richards is
even-
almost like the greatest like riff guitarist of all time. Straight up.
And he's
I've
not
said
even
it
the greatest guitar player
numerous times.
He's not even the greatest guitar player in the Rolling Stones, but he's still the greatest guitar player, or he's a better guitar player than Pete. But I don't know. I like where this song goes and where it takes you with all of the instrumental parts, because much like you, I think Roger is the weakest part of this band musically. I think he's one of the most important parts of the band as an individual, because he was such a driving force, because he was essentially the leader of the band for most of its career. Like nobody wanted to fuck with Roger because he was scrappy and he
Yeah.
would fuck you up.
He was in gangs, dude. Like in his fucking
Yeah.
teen years, got kicked out of high school, and then like joined gangs. So I don't know what the gangs in like England were like in the fucking 60s.
I'm sure it's not like East LA, but
Yeah, no, I assume they're just like, hey, though, sorry there, chap. Like, oh, don't step on anybody's toes. That's my English accent. But it's not like Peaky Blinders style, right? Like in the 60s, no fucking way. It's like
no, not in the 60s. No,
no. But like
worst
regardless,
case, it's probably like Football Factory style,
yeah,
just some brawls, some rumbles.
yeah,
but
exactly.
that's
You
about
get
it.
beat, and then we call it a day.
Yeah, go out for a couple pints and all's forgiven until
Actually,
the
that
next
sounds
day.
amazing. Like I would have joined a gang if it was that easy. Like at worst, I would just get beat up, but then we'd go have a pint.
I wish we were English, then we could actually relate to them. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I really do like Won't Get Fooled Again. I don't have much more to say about this. Also, actually, real quick, I do really like a lot of the synth stuff that he does on here. There's a lot more of the looping, which is
the same
obviously a
fucking thing
throwback.
as Bob
Yes,
O'Reilly.
it's a throwback to Bob O'Reilly, but I like the way he kind of modulates it. He changes it up a little bit. It's not exactly like it. There's some cool modulation there, and I don't know. It's a good way to end the record. And if you're listening to the record on loop, it's cool going looping back into Bob O'Reilly. It's a well sequenced record. Let's just say that.
It's them wanting to write a concept album, but then like abandoning the idea, but then also still kind of like writing a concept album because it starts
Yes.
and ends like the same fucking way. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what do you got for your 3B?
I only have 2 more B's, right? Love ain't for keeping.
No, is it really?
Yeah, dude, come on.
If
The
I
Behind
if I
Blue
had
Eyes.
to list this as a banger, which I do not, I would list this as a 5.
Okay.
So I got 4 B's and then filler
Love
bangers,
ain't for
FBs.
keeping.
So let's get into this. I mean, I think you're wrong, but okay. What do you got?
I think. What are you taught? What?
It's good. It's not even. It's 2 minutes. The song is 2 minutes long.
That's all you
It's
need.
the shortest song on the record.
Yeah. I just like the high pitched vocals there. I don't know.
It's
cute.
a ballad. It's a ballad with the full band. But it's acoustic guitar driven. The one thing I do like about this is the stereo. Well, the whole record really, which we haven't talked too much about, but the stereo on this record, you know, Pete is so great at arranging these songs and writing these songs that, you know, he'll have like the electric guitar in one ear in the left ear, and then an acoustic playing the rhythm, just strumming along on the right. But it all works together, and then John's in the middle of the mix, just holding it all together. And in this song, what's cool is that it's an acoustic guitar on each side, but they're kind of dueling each other. They're both playing lead. They're like dueling leads, but then one will drop into like a rhythm, and then the other one will continue playing the lead, and then they'll switch it up again. So it's just the back and forth of that dueling is it's cool, man. It's really, really cool.
It is cool. This is a good song.
It's good. That's why it's my
Dude, like,
my 5B, I guess.
Dude, John's got some like super silly bass lines here. This is the only song on the entire album that we hear him do like hammers. He does slides. He does like squirrely scales. The boop 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 boop. Like all over the place. And like the way they all harm on the Love Ain't for Keeping part, it's good. And that
It is
what I thought was very Stones-esque, because Stones did that shit so much in the early days. And it's cute. I like it. I like when bands, especially from the little island of UK, Great Britain.
The UK. Yeah, Great Britain, yeah.
Who cares what that fucking
GB.
place is? UK, UB. Is it UB?
I said GB.
Oh, GB.
Yeah.
GBH.
Well, you just say Britland. Britland is the same thing. That's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll call it Britland. The whole island. It's cute when they all kind of like take from each other and stuff like that. But I do like that it's short. Not every song has to be 5-6 minutes long. This is a comfortable 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. That's all you need.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Call it a day.
I do. All right. So, any more on Love Ain't for Keeping?
Love ain't for keeping.
I keep thinking you're gonna sing Love Hurts, and that really annoys me.
Okay.
All right. So my number 3 is Bargain. The second track. Second track. Yeah, second track.
That's the second track. Yeah.
I had no idea this was a Who song until this week. No idea. But
Best
that
I ever had.
dude, that chorus when he sings that,
Like that shit, huh?
I swear to God, when we were, not you and I, but with some other people I know, when we were teenagers and kids, we used to sing that all the time. Like that was like a go-to phrase, just as a joke because it was so stupid. But I never knew it was the Who until this week. Because I think they used to play that in commercials, or it was like in a commercial maybe, and that's why we picked up on it, and then we would just always sing it. What do you know if it was, or do you remember if it was?
Now that you say that it was in a commercial, like I
Like
want
a Ford
to believe
commercial or
it was in
something?
like a commercial.
Chevy,
Yes,
Ford commercial.
yeah, because the Who definitely have released their songs to commercials, and
Yeah,
people.
because there was like
hated
that Like a Rock song. Remember?
Yeah.
The Like a Rock.
rock.
It's so terrible. But it's in the same vein of that, and I do really like this song. This is a cool song. What do you think of this one?
It's all right.
No,
It's fine. This is an okay song. I think it kind of keeps the feeling of Baba O'Reilly here. It's a good transition, right? Like going from Baba into this song. It's a good transition. It's a fine rock song. I don't think it's anything great. I do like when he yells "the best I ever had." I think that's fun.
I ever had.
It's nostalgic. And then like John throws in some cool bass slides every now and then.
Yeah.
Barrel, like those kind of things. The song kicks up a little bit in the bridge with that cool like synth lead part, and then at the end it doubles back on that thing with Keith Moon like throwing down some just insane drum beats.
One
I
thing
think,
we haven't talked too much about Keith, but yeah, the guy was incredible.
I mean,
Absolutely
I guess we
incredible.
could just like Robert Daltrey. I don't give a fuck about. I was. What did I say? Robert?
You said Robert Daltrey.
Who cares? Robbie Daltrey.
Robbie Daltrey, yes.
Would you call Roger?
It's Roger
Robbie?
Daltrey.
But like, would
No,
you call?
you said Robert.
But what is Robbie? Is Robbie short for Roger or Robert?
Rodget? Or
No, Robbie. Is it short for
Robbie? Robert.
So there's no short for Roger?
No.
Is
Maybe
he Raggy?
Raj.
Well, Raggy.
You say Raj.
Is he
You could say
Raggy?
Raj.
I'm gonna say
You
Raggy.
would say Raggy. Raggy's the same as saying it's the same amount of syllables. What's the point?
Yeah, but like Robert, Robbie, it's the same amount of syllables too.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Let's get into Behind Blue Eyes, and then we'll just go over each band member, and then we'll call it a
Okay,
day.
yeah. We'll skip past Bargain, but that's fine. Yeah.
It's not
you
that great of a
clearly want
song.
to talk about.
It's not that great of a song.
You clearly
It's
want to
really
talk about
not.
Limp Bizkit. You clearly want to talk about Limp Bizkit.
Of course, I
so-
want to bring up Limp Bizkit. Why would I not want to fucking bring up Limp Bizkit? It's terrible.
And this is the second time we brought up Limp Bizkit on this episode. All right, so yeah, Behind Blue Eyes, the Limp Bizkit version. Let's get into that. What do you got?
Behind Blue Eyes. It really is a cool song, though. Like, Behind Blue Eyes really is a cool song. It is a true ballad, more so than like anything they've ever done, right? It's presented as a ballad, like straight from the get-go, like with Tommy and things like that. Like, yeah, it wasn't presented as a ballad. It's a concept album. This is presented as a ballad, and it never shies away from that. And I respect that. And I like
Except for
that.
the end. I mean, it does. It definitely picks up at the end.
Yeah.
For like the last minute 15, it picks up.
Yeah, again,
But-
for another almost 4-minute song here.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for an acoustic kind of ballad, this is actually really good. Roger sings a little bit differently too. Even like he sings in a more aggressive tone than he normally does. Even during the acoustic part of it, the beginning part of it, it's much more his vocals are much more aggressive, and I thought that was cool because it's different because he's very. I don't want to say he's one dimensional. Well, he is one dimensional.
He's for sure
He's
one-dimensional.
one-dimensional.
Yes.
He doesn't take too many chances as a vocalist.
He can't.
Yeah, I mean, not to say he's a bad singer, but yeah, he never shows off his chops or anything like that. So, I don't know. I really have nothing really to say about that part, but the ending, I mean, Keith Moon just rips it up. He has some incredible parts, great fills, great transitions. And the last part of that song, but I mean, what do you expect? It's
So good.
It's Keith Moon. And yeah, the Limp Bizkit version of this song is it's horrendous. I mean, and we love Limp Bizkit, and you pretend to like that cover, but
You gotta love this cover
it's-
because it's so fucking bad.
it's terrible.
I
video
do-
makes it even worse.
I do know one person that like truly loves this cover and thinks that
Who?
this cover is like one of Limp Bizkit's best songs. And that's friend of the pod, Ronnie. She truly does believe
Oh my god.
that this version is not just like a good cover, but one of Limp Bizkit's best songs.
What's her explanation? What's her reason? Does she have one?
Does it matter? I don't know. Who cares?
Doesn't. But I mean, curiosity out of why?
Her explanation is boop, boop, boop. I am stupid. I don't know anything. Boop, boop, boop. She's a robot or something. I don't know what the boop boops mean. But I constantly make fun of her for it. And true to her word, she'll always play this shit when we're like sitting on the back, like vaping and shit.
Man.
She puts it on.
And you probably laugh every time too. And you sing
I
along.
do. I of course I sing along. I still enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's a terrible cover.
I still bite on the vinyls. The fuck out of it! Like you wouldn't buy Results Mayberry on fucking vinyls.
I wouldn't. I only like the one
Yes,
song.
you fucking would. Yes,
no,
you fucking
Eat You
would,
Alive is
dude.
the only good
Eat
song
You
on
Alive
that
is
record.
So fucking good.
I have so freaking good. I do have that single on my want list on Discogs. I would get the single of Eat You Alive, but
I'd buy this
no,
shit in a heartbeat, baby boy, a heartbeat.
no, you would not.
Dude,
you would
Snoop's
not
on this
get Eat You Alive.
album. Fucking
Doesn't make it
Behind Blue
good.
Eyes on this album. The fuck is here?
Fuck you, Eat You
That's
Alive
all
is
I
the only good
remember.
one off that record. But anyway, Behind Blue Eyes, I don't know, man. I don't have anything more to say about this one.
All right, let's just go over each band member, what we like, what we don't like, and then call it a day. And we'll
Call it a
go
day.
from
That
there,
sounds
because
good.
I feel like we should get into at least two of these guys that we have not really got into yet.
I mean, with Roger, we already got into that. I mean,
Boring. Move along.
outside of him being like, a skull cracker, there's not much more to his music, I feel. So I don't, yeah. So let's move on to
whatever.
Pete. We talked a lot about Pete.
Dude, Pete is like top 5 fucking bass players of all time. Like he's pretty
Pete?
fucking good, dude. Yeah,
Or John.
Pete and Twistle, yes. Oops, John and Twistle. Let's talk about Pete. Pete,
So
Pete.
okay, do we have anything else on Pete?
Not really. No, you're right.
Yeah, I don't. So let's get into John. Let's get into John.
John. God, John is the most boring fucking name of all time.
I know. Cool last name though. Entwistle. Kind of a cool
Entwistle.
last name.
Like Entwistle with like is there a WH in there?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that a British thing with like the H in there? Because right, like Pete Townsend is not Pete Townsend, it's Pete Townshend. It's like H, like British H thing.
I have no idea.
Whatever. But
There's an H in Daltrey too.
John is really like one of the greatest like bass players of all time. Dude slays. And you can just like Google and then YouTube like isolated tracks, bass playing John playing. And not only does he just stand there and act like it's fucking no big deal to him, like it's like a chore, like he hates doing it because he never fucking moves. But his fingers are so fucking fast. It's like watching, dude. It's like watching some metal bass player play.
And he plays it so high up too. He plays it so high up.
Oh yeah.
And then he plays like not only. I mean, he doesn't even play like a jazz master or anything like that. He plays like an explorer, so it has like the sharp points on it and shit. So it really stands out. And then if you look at like later stuff that he put out or his later basses, they have like the really pointy headstocks, like Dimebag Darrell style. You know what I'm talking about?
That was his Franken bass. That's what he started on. That's what he liked.
So ugly.
It was just this pursuit of tone, and all he liked to do was, how can I achieve a tone that I liked? He embraced distortion. He embraced feedback. He used a pick. He used his fingers. He palm muted when he had to. And he just didn't fucking care. He played to the song, and like really, he didn't fucking give a shit what everybody else was doing. He played what he thought sounded best, no matter what.
Yeah, and what I liked about him, liked about him too, is that he played with the Who. He obviously played on most of the records, but also he just put out a ton of solo records too. Just outside of the band, he just he did his own thing. He never it never seemed like he caused trouble within the band. Like every other member had their issues except for John. John was the only one. He was like the rock of the band. He really was.
He's the ox.
He is. And I mean, he really was the rhythm section, because Keith Moon, clearly, obviously, one of the greatest drummers of all time. But even John would say like, he's a little too wild, and sometimes it was hard for him to keep up. But John still, if it wasn't for John, the Who would never have been as great as they are, because you have to follow that rhythm section, has to follow Keith and John. There are very few bass players who could follow Keith Moon. I mean, he was too insane.
I agree.
Way too insane.
I agree. I think John is one of the greatest rock bass players of all time, but I think Keith Moon is one of the greatest drummers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think what he did just for music in general in the 60s was outlandish, right? Let's not focus so much on like beats and hi-hats and being a rhythm part, but let's be like a lead instrument. Let's use a lot of fucking toms. Let's use a lot of rolls. Let's make a lot of fucking noise and then see what we can do. Let's see what we get. But you can't do that without a John. Like, you got to have a humble John, but not just a humble John, a humble good John. And damn, John was good.
Yeah, he was.
That's wild. That's fucking wild, dude. Like a four-piece, right, where the singer is the worst part of the band, writes the worst fucking songs, sings the worst out of anybody, because really, like, Pete's a decent singer. And
he was. I have no issues with the singer.
I'm going to go back a little bit, because a lot of like live recordings, Pete's out of tune constantly. But he tries, and he sings to the song, whereas like Roger. Again with the Robert Roger thing.
I know, man.
Roger tries to be a good singer, and he's not a good singer. Like, Pete's not a good singer, but he doesn't try to be a good singer. Like, John's a good bass player. No, John's a great bass player, but he pretends to be a good bass player. Keith is a great drummer, and he pretends to be a great drummer. So that's fine.
That's true. I think Keith Moon said too, like he said, I never want to be the greatest drummer. I just want to be the best drummer in the Who, or said something like that.
Dude, he always said like,
cool.
I just want to play drums in the style of like the greatest like Keith Moon style I could possibly play. And like, dude was so fucking good. He really was. He really, really was. And it's just this week, I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time listening to The Who, and then I'll spend a lot of time listening to like Bonham. And I was like, damn, dude, like Keith Moon is so fucking good. There's no way Bonham can be better than this. There's really no way like anybody could be better than Keith Moon at like playing rock drums. And then,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I really did. I really did get back into like Zeppelin this week, and Bonham is so fucking good, bro. Like Bonham is so good.
Bonham has a more consistent groove, definitely, but Keith Moon could really drop it down and hold back. And he's not always wild, but he's just a little too wild for me to say that I prefer him over John Bonham. Bonham's groove was so insane. It was
Bonham's groove, Bonham's dynamics.
His swing. Yeah, his dynamics, his swing. I mean, Keith just hit really fucking hard. He hit every single drum. Every tom, he hit so hard. And, you know, his whole drum kit it started off small, but as the years went on, it grew and grew and grew to the point where even John would say, like, it was hard to watch him play because he had the exact same setup on each side of him, on both the left and right side. So he had all this huge series of toms, but like he said, most drummers like play like a roll like left to right. But he said Keith plays zigzag, so he'll play like a couple hits on the right, a couple hits on the left, right, going back and forth for no reason other than he could just do that. But like that's so unconventional. Like even to this day, no drummer in their right mind is going to play like that unless you're like a YouTube drummer and doing it for, you know, views and shit. If you're in a band, you're not going to be pulling that shit. No way. But Keith Moon, it worked for him. It really did. But also I think it was his persona and, you know, what he was doing outside of the band that really catapulted his myth and lore and, you know, reputation. I think that's what it comes down to too.
And why would you not? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck it, dude.
Man, this band's crazy. Also, you know, going back to John real quick too, he was the quietest person in the band, but you know, he lived the rock and roll lifestyle until literally the day he died. Yeah. He died in Las Vegas.
Overdose shit, right?
57 years old, heart attack. They found cocaine in his system. He was sleeping. He was with a stripper at the time, a groupie stripper. And she found him dead next to her when she woke up. You know, he lived the life up until the moment he died. Like even like Pete quit drugs, like heroin, like the hard shit back in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And you know, Roger never really got into any of that. You know, Keith Moon clearly died, but he died at 32 years old. Oh, also, what I found fascinating, which I did not know until this week. I'm talking a lot, I know, but I thought this was really cool. Really not cool, but interesting. The condo or the apartment or flat, I should say, that Keith Moon was living in, 4 years prior to that, I forgot the singer from the Mamas and the Papas died in that same room or that same apartment as Keith Moon did. They were 32 years old. Keith Moon died there at
Mama
32
Cass?
years old. Yeah.
Damn.
They were both 32 years old when they died in that apartment.
In the same place?
The same apartment, yeah. I had no idea until this week.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I guess like before Keith moved in there, I forgot the guy who owned the apartment, but he said that it's haunted and it's cursed, and they all laughed it off and everything like that. But then he did die in that same apartment at the same age. It's crazy, right?
That's weird, dude.
Very, very fucking weird. Also, Keith Moon's death. Fuck, man. Did you see what he overdosed on?
Yeah.
So he was going through alcohol withdrawals. I forgot the exact name of the medication, but it's an alcohol withdrawal medication to help you with said withdrawals.
Prescribed to you to help you with these things.
Prescribed. But also,
how many you take, though?
He took 32 capsules.
32? Are you supposed to be taking 32? I don't know.
You're only supposed to be taking between 1 and 3, at most 3 a day. His doctor prescribed him. He said, take it only when you're feeling the withdrawals. And he said, take no more than 3 a day. And he prescribed him 100 pills in that particular prescription. And yeah, that night he took 32 of them. And then the autopsy said that his body digested 6 of them, and the remainder were all undigested. So those 6 were the ones that killed him.
That's wild.
Not all 32, but the 6 killed him.
After 5, his body's like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
And just like through like
Shut
attrition
down.
and shit, like his body just digested the 6th one, 30 fucking 2.
Yeah, and people have said like, well, what was the doctor? Was there a lawsuit or anything like that? And the doctor who prescribed it claimed that he had no idea who Keith Moon was. He didn't know his lifestyle or anything like that. And I call bullshit on that. That's some like Michael Jackson doctor, propofol bullshit.
I mean, that's a whole different fucking thing, but all right,
But still.
all right, and
But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we didn't even really get into the Keith Moon antics and the explosions and dude, that shit's fucking
we can. I mean,
funny
we
and
can say
wild.
that for Tommy, or we can just get into it for another hour here.
Nah, yeah, let's save it for another episode. We're pretty deep into this one, so let's wrap it up. Let's give our final thoughts on who's next, and then rate the record based off of our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album, give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So what do you got? Go.
This is not my favorite Who record. I don't really like the Who that much. I like everything that they are about. I like their personas. I like their craftsmanship. I like their attention to detail. But like overall, I really don't care for their music outside of Tommy. I like My Generation a lot. I have 4 bangers from this one, but that's about it. Otherwise, the Who are just like a band that I just don't understand why people think they are as great as they think they are. You know what I mean? Like the Stones, I get. The Stones, I get why people think are great, because the Stones produce music that is generic enough
Plain
to
old people.
be. Yeah. But like people like generic music, right? Like
You
generic
wouldn't have
pop
Foo
music.
Fighters or
Exactly. Like Stones are like the
Fighters
fucking
or-
Foo Fighters
yeah.
of this era.
Bon Jovi. Yeah.
So I've just never understood like the love for the Who, in that capacity. I do like the Who a lot, but I don't love the Who a lot. I love Tommy, but that's really it. This record's fine. It's got 4 bangers on it. Other than that, I don't really care.
Okay.
This is like a 1.5. I give this record a 1.5. I'm not gonna, I don't go back to this record. I've had this like 3 times on vinyls.
Mhm.
I've had OGs. I've had OG UK presses. I just don't care. There's not enough there for me to want to go back and listen to. Like Tommy. I love Tommy.
Tommy. All right, 1.5 out of 3 for you. For this, yeah, I don't have any of the Who records on vinyl. I've had this one, over the years, but purged it. It's not bad by any means. It's just not for me. I agree with you. This is a band that a lot of people love. I don't really get it, but maybe it's because as a whole, as a band as a whole, they make good music that just good rock and roll or good rock music. But as you take the band members out, you realize, oh, all these guys are really good. But as a whole, outside of Tommy, they're just fine. But you take Keith Moon out, obviously amazing. John, amazing. You take Pete out, just a great composer and arranger. But I don't know. It's just they're just a good band, but as a whole, they're not great. Outside of Tommy.
Yeah.
But even then, Tommy's not really my thing. But
Tommy's good.
I still appreciate it. I still think it's the greatest concept record of all time, because it is.
Like there would be no fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show. There would be no of that demographic of
Without
rock
Tommy, yeah.
opera stuff. Right, Meatloaf would not exist. All of that type of sound. Fucking even maybe Dio, because Dio took a lot from that type of sound. There would not be that if it wasn't for Tommy.
For Tommy, yeah. Everybody cites Tommy as a massive influence, and I get it. I totally get it. It's not for me. But anyway, who's next? I'm just gonna give this a 1.75 because I think Baba O'Reilly is so good. I think Bargain is so good. Yeah, especially Baba O'Reilly. I really do like that song, and I would get get a greatest hits of this band. I really would. You throw My Generation, Squeezebox, Magic Bus, Baba O'Reilly, bargain. You throw all their hits on a 10, 12 song greatest hits, I would for sure get that on vinyl, hands down. But I would never. I don't care enough. I don't like their music enough to get any of their records again on vinyl. So that's all I got. Gave it a 1.75. So you got anything else?
That's it. That's all.
All right, well, thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, tell all your friends, and that's it. That's all.
Because properly.